Hey everyone, Dave here. In this video, we're going to use the GIMP software, free graphics software that you can get at gimp.org, and I'll put a link in the PDF for you to pick that up, and probably somewhere on the page here as well. And it's completely free. You just download it and use it, and I like it. I've used Photoshop. I think GIMP is just a lot more. There's just less fluff. All the tools are easier to access and all that kind of thing. It won't run Photoshop action scripts, so I still do use Photoshop for creating like ebook covers and that kind of stuff. But for the most part, I use GIMP for all of my graphics. So this is the ad we've been talking about, the Freeway Motors ad. And what I want to do, and I turned on that annoying mouse cursor so you guys could see my cursor, but what I want to do is I want to put right in the middle of the ad here our hook, our text line. Okay, so in order to do that, I need to modify their ad, and I should say too, I'm going to go slow. I had a couple people take a look at this video and pointed out that I was just moving way too fast. The reason I was doing that was because I wanted to prove that it can be done in the 5 minutes I say it can be done, because I can do it in about 3 minutes if I'm just moving. But I'm going to go slow so you guys can see everything that I'm doing, okay? So let's get started. I want to shrink. I'm going to put it right in the middle here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shrink down this bottom portion, okay? So I've got my rectangle select tool up here, and I want to put this right in the middle so I still have some margin to deal with. Okay, and I'm just going to draw a select box around what I want to shrink down. Okay, I'm going to come up here, I'm going to grab the scale tool and click somewhere inside that box. Then you have to come up here, you need to make sure that this is unlinked. If it's linked, well here, I'll just show you. If it's linked and I try and scale this, it'll maintain, whoops. If it's, let me do this again. If it's linked, you're always going to maintain your aspect ratio, okay? And I don't want to do that, so I hit Control Z to undo, which is the Windows shortcut for undo. Let me draw my select box back in here. That'll work right there. Now I'm going to hit that scale tool, click inside here, unlink this guy, and I'm just going to shrink this down to about, that should give me enough room, and click scale. Okay, now this is all transparency in here now, so we're going to need to fill all that back in to make it look right, and the part that we were just working with is now a floating layer. Okay, what the hell was that? Okay, so we want to right click. That's what it was. It was okay and the word click combined. We want to right click on the floating selection and just anchor the layer, and that puts it back as part of the original layer that we were working with. Okay, now we want to grab our eyedropper tool, and I just want to pick out some of this gray that they're already using by putting the tip of the eyedropper tool on the color and then clicking, and you can see it set the foreground over here to that gray color. Back to my rectangle select box, and I'm just going to draw a rectangle in here, line up this edge. Actually, we'll just do this. Come down, that's pretty good. Go to my bucket fill tool and fill that guy up with gray. Okay, and now I can come up here. Can you guys see that? No, you can't. Let me move that. Okay, so now I can come up here and go select none. Okay, and that deselects everything. Now this obviously looks pretty bad right here, so I'm going to grab my bucket fill tool again, and this isn't going to be perfect, but you know what, to make your sales pitch it'll be just fine. And I'm going to draw a rectangle in here. I'm going to swap the foreground for the background color and bucket fill this white. Okay, and I'm going to go select none and go back to my foreground color. Okay, so now I've created the space in the middle of their ad that we're going to put our hook line into. Okay, so now we want to put our text in here. So I grab the text tool up here. First, actually, I already did it, but if you grab the eyedropper and grab that yellow, now grab the text box, and I'm going to draw a text box in here. About yay big or so. Click on centered, and I'm going to come down here and go text in cap. Text the stock number of any unit to 952-955-9275. Sorry about that, guys. I want to pick, you can use whatever font you like. I've been using the Impact Condensed font. I'll bring up the font size a little bit. Okay, let's make the text box a little bigger so we're not clipping off that letter Y. And we can move this guy up just a little bit because we want to maximize our space. And I'm going to shrink it down right over here and condense it just a little bit more. That's more than I would like to see. So I'm going to go minus 0.2. There. And that shrinks that down just a touch. Okay? Now I want to grab my text box again. I'm going to draw in another text box right underneath it. And let me shrink that down. To take an instant virtual test drive right on your mobile device. Okay. And let's put that into position. Okay. That's looking pretty good. Now, I kind of want to, I'm going to highlight this instant virtual test drive, okay? Alright. I have to, every once in a while these toolbars go away. Okay, so now I want to put a red highlight in behind the instant virtual test drive. So the way I do that is I go new layer. I want the brush, calligraphy brush, large. Make sure I'm on the new layer. And I'm just going to draw that in. Just like that. Okay? Now what I want to do is I want to be able to select all of this and kind of give it this outline shadow thing that they've got going on. So I'm going to right click and merge all these layers together. Okay? Leave the background layer alone, but merge all of your text layers and your highlight layers. Okay? And right click on it and go alpha to selection. You can see that selects everything. Okay. Now let's come up here and go script foo, layer effects, drop shadow, and I want to change this to white, about 50% opacity, and probably 3 pixels will be good. And 3 pixels, and click OK. Okay, and I'm going to go select none. And now that put this white highlight around everything. Okay, now I want to do one more thing. I'm going to right click on it again and go alpha to selection. I'm going to put a new layer in. I'm going to grab my, actually I can probably just go previous colors. I'm going to grab this gray again. That you know, matches the page, okay? And then I want to go select, grow. I'm going to grow it by 2 pixels. And now I'm going to go bucket fill. Make sure you're on your new layer over here. And fill it up with that gray. And now we just want to move this layer down one, so let's select the layer and move it down. And see how good that looks? We've got that little white highlight, and the rest of it, you know, it looks pretty good, and it matches their ad nicely. So now this is the ad we're going to send back to them. Now, we're marketing a text messaging service here, but obviously, if you were doing Facebook or Twitter or social of any sort, or LinkedIn, or, you know, whatever you're doing, this still applies, because you've taken their ad, you've modified it to make it more effective, and you send it back to them. And when they see their ad coming back in with improvements or with changes, obviously they're going to question it. So now I'm just going to go File, Save As, a copy, because I don't want to overwrite the original, and I'm going to save it as Freeway PNG. And I want to go 0 compression. Okay, that's it for creating the sales ad or page or material, I guess I should say. It's that simple. Once you get the hang of it and you've done one or two, you fly through these things in about 3 minutes flat. It's extremely powerful. So go do it. Talk to you guys soon.